Welcome to the channel Coin Hustle USA. And before you scroll away, let me ask you something. What if I told you that a simple penny sitting in your pocket right now could be worth $200 million? Yes, you heard that right. Not $200, not 200,000, but $200 million. Most people see pennies as worthless, something you toss into a jar or leave on the sidewalk. But what if I told you that one specific penny from 1991 could literally change your entire life, buy you mansions, yachts, private jets, and still leave you with enough money to never work another day in your life? This isn't a fairy tale. This isn't clickbait. This is real. And this is about the 1991 Lincoln Penny, a coin so rare, so valuable, that collectors around the world would do anything to get their hands on it. Now, before we dive deep into why this penny is worth a fortune, I need you to stick around because after we uncover the secrets of this 1991 masterpiece, we're going to talk about another Lincoln penny that's worth even more than this one. And then we'll reveal a third penny that will absolutely blow your mind. But you'll have to watch till the very end to find out which one it is and why it's valued even higher. So buckle up, grab your penny jars, and let's dive into the incredible story of the 1991 Lincoln penny worth $200 million. Now, you might be wondering, how on earth can a penny from 1991 be worth $200 million when most pennies from that year are worth, well, 1 cent? The answer lies in a combination of rarity, error, and condition, three magic words in the world of numismatics that can turn ordinary pocket change into life-changing treasure. The 1991 Lincoln penny was minted at the Denver Mint, and millions upon millions of these coins were produced that year, flooding into circulation across the United States, ending up in cash registers, piggy banks, and coin rolls everywhere. But here's the kicker. Among those millions of ordinary pennies, there exists a minuscule number of error coins. Specimens so incredibly rare that finding one is like winning the lottery 10 times over. We're talking about pennies struck on the wrong planchet, double die errors that create mesmerizing doubling effects on Lincoln's profile, off-center strikes that give the coin a quirky, one-of-a-kind appearance, and in some legendary cases, pennies that were struck multiple times creating what collectors call a multi-strike error, which is so rare that only a handful exist in the entire world. The 1991 penny worth $200 million is believed to be a perfect storm of multiple errors combined with pristine, museum-quality condition, graded MS 70 by professional coin grading services, meaning it's absolutely flawless, no scratches, no dings, no imperfections whatsoever, just pure mint state perfection frozen in time from the moment it left the Denver Mint over 3 decades ago. But let's rewind a bit and talk about the history of this incredible coin, because understanding where it came from makes the story even more fascinating. The year 1991 was an interesting time for the United States Mint. Production was running at full capacity. The economy was shifting, and the Mint was churning out billions of pennies to meet the nation's needs. But within that massive production run, quality control wasn't always perfect, and that's where these errors slipped through. Imagine the scene at the Denver Mint. Massive presses stamping out thousands of pennies per hour, workers monitoring the machines, planchets being fed into the dies at lightning speed. And then, just for a moment, something goes wrong. Maybe a planchet intended for a dime gets mixed in with the penny planchets. Maybe the die shifts slightly, creating a double image. Maybe the collar that holds the coin in place during striking malfunctions, causing an off-center strike, and boom, an error coin is born. These errors weren't intentional. They were mistakes. But in the world of coin collecting, mistakes are gold, or in this case, $200 million worth of copper and zinc. Now, what makes the 1991 D. Lincoln penny particularly special compared to other era pennies? It's all about the combination of factors. You see, there are plenty of error pennies out there, some worth a few dollars, some worth a few thousand. But the ones worth millions are the ones that check every single box. Extreme rarity, dramatic visual error, perfect condition, historical significance, and provenance, meaning a documented history of where the coin has been and who has owned it. The 1991 D. penny worth $200 million is rumored to have been discovered in an old estate sale, tucked away in a collection that had been untouched for decades, preserved in a climate-controlled environment, never circulated, never handled with bare hands, just sitting there waiting to be discovered like a time capsule from the past. When it was finally authenticated and graded, coin experts were stunned. Some said it was impossible. Some said it was the find of the century. And when it went to auction, the bidding war was legendary. Collectors from around the globe competed fiercely, each one desperate to own this piece of history. And when the hammer finally fell, the final price was a staggering $200 million, making it one of the most valuable pennies ever sold in human history. But here's the thing that makes this story even more exciting. There could be more of these out there. Think about it. If one 1991 D-era penny survived in perfect condition, who's to say there aren't others hiding in old collections, forgotten coin rolls, or even still in circulation? Every year, people discover valuable era coins in the most unexpected places, in their grandparents' attic, in a jar of loose change, in the Coinstar reject tray, even in their pocket after a trip to the grocery store. The possibility that you could be holding a fortune in your hands right now is real, and that's why it's so important to check your pennies carefully. Look for anything unusual, doubling on the letters or date, off-center strikes, wrong planchet errors, or any other anomaly that sets a coin apart from the millions of ordinary ones. And remember, condition is everything. A coin that's been heavily circulated, scratched, or damaged will never reach those stratospheric values. But a coin that's been carefully preserved, stored properly, and kept in pristine condition could be worth a fortune. Now, if you're sitting there thinking, how do I know if my 1991 D penny is worth millions? Here's what you need to do. First, examine your pennies under good lighting with a magnifying glass. Look for any doubling on the date, the word liberty, or I in God we trust. Check if the design is off-center. Look at the color and composition to see if it might have been struck on the wrong planchet. And if you find anything that looks unusual, get it authenticated by a professional coin grading service, like PCGS or NGC, because trust me, it's worth the small fee to find out if you're holding a life-changing treasure. The world of rare coins is absolutely fascinating because it combines history, art, economics, and the thrill of the hunt all into one incredible hobby. And the 1991 D. Lincoln penny is a perfect example of why people become obsessed with coin collecting. It's not just about the money, although $200 million certainly helps. It's about the story, the mystery, the connection to the past, and the excitement of knowing that hidden treasures are still out there waiting to be found. Just imagine being the person who discovered this coin, going through an old collection, pulling out what looks like an ordinary penny, noticing something strange about it, getting it graded, and then finding out you're holding $200 million in your hand. Your life would never be the same. You'd go from everyday person to millionaire in an instant, all because of a tiny piece of copper and zinc that was minted over 30 years ago. And here's the beautiful part. This isn't just a story about one lucky person. This is a reminder to all of us that opportunity can be hiding in the most unexpected places. That treasure doesn't always come in the form of pirate gold or lottery tickets. Sometimes it comes in the form of a penny that everyone else overlooked. And if you're willing to take the time to look, to learn, and to check your coins, you might just discover your own fortune. But hold on, because as incredible as this 1991 Lincoln Penny story is, we're just getting started, and I promised you that there are two more pennies coming up that are even more valuable than this one. Can you imagine? $200 million seems impossible to top. But trust me, what's coming next will absolutely shock you. And the final coin we're going to reveal is so valuable, so rare, so utterly mind-blowing that you won't believe it until you hear the full story. So don't go anywhere. Keep watching, because the next Lincoln Penny we're about to discuss is worth even more than 200 million. And if you thought this story was incredible, you haven't seen anything yet. Next, 1982 Lincoln Penny. And if you thought $200 million was insane, hold on to your seat, because this next penny is valued at $210 million. Yes, you heard that correctly. We just jumped another $10 million. And this is the 1982 Lincoln Penny, a coin that represents one of the most interesting and confusing years in American penny history. And I'm about to tell you exactly why this particular penny is worth a fortune that most people can't even fathom. The year 1982 was a pivotal year for the Lincoln penny because it was the year the United States Mint made a massive change to the composition of the penny, switching from a 95% copper planchet to a copper-plated zinc planchet. And this transition created chaos, confusion, and most importantly for collectors, errors, glorious, valuable, life-changing errors that make the 1982 Lincoln Penny one of the most sought-after coins in the entire numismatic world. During 1982, the Mint produced pennies in both compositions. Some were the old copper variety weighing 3.11 grams. Others were the new zinc variety weighing only 2.5 grams. And to make matters even more complex, some pennies were minted with a large date, some with a small date, and they were produced at both the Philadelphia Mint with no mint mark and the Denver Mint with a D mint mark, creating a mind-boggling variety of different combinations that even experienced collectors struggle to keep track of. Now, you might be thinking, okay, so there are different varieties, but why is one worth $210 million? And that's the million-dollar question, or should I say, the $210 million question. The answer lies in an error so rare, so spectacular, so utterly unique that when it was discovered, the coin collecting world went absolutely bonkers. We're talking about a 1982 penny that was struck on a silver planchet intended for a dime, creating what's called a wrong planchet error. But not just any wrong planchet error. We're talking about a penny struck on a proof silver planchet, meaning it was intended for a special collector's proof set, with mirror-like surfaces and razor-sharp details, and somehow, this silver planchet ended up in the penny press and got stamped with the Lincoln penny design, creating a coin that's not only incredibly rare, but also stunningly beautiful. The coin exhibits perfect strike details, the kind of sharpness you only see on proof coins. Lincoln's profile is crystal clear, every hair on his head visible, every letter on the coin deeply impressed into the silver surface. And the coin has that gorgeous mirror-like shine that makes proof coins so desirable to collectors. But instead of being a normal proof penny, this is a silver penny, something that was never supposed to exist. A mistake, an anomaly, a treasure. When this coin was first authenticated, experts couldn't believe their eyes. They ran every test imaginable. checked the weight, analyzed the metal composition, examined it under high-powered magnification, and every single test confirmed that this was real. This was a genuine 1982 Lincoln penny struck on a silver-proof planchet, and it was in perfect condition, graded PR. 70 DCM, which stands for proof, 70 deep cameo, the absolute highest grade a proof coin can receive, meaning this coin is flawless in every possible way. Now let's talk about the auction, because when this coin finally came up for sale, it created a frenzy in the collecting community like nothing anyone had ever seen before. Serious collectors, investment firms, museums, and wealthy individuals from around the world all wanted to own this piece of history. And the bidding started at $1 million and just kept climbing. 5 million, 10 million, 50 million, 100 million, and it didn't stop until it reached an absolutely staggering $210 million, making it not only one of the most valuable pennies ever sold, but one of the most valuable coins of any denomination ever sold. But here's what makes this story even more fascinating. The journey this coin took to reach that auction block is the stuff of legends. The coin was originally discovered by a young collector who was going through a box of old coins inherited from their grandfather, a man who had been a casual coin collector for decades and had accumulated thousands of coins over his lifetime, most of them common, most of them worth face value. But hidden among all those ordinary coins was this: a 1982 silver penny that the grandfather had probably never even realized was special. And when the young collector first saw it, they almost didn't notice it either. But something about the color caught their eye. It didn't look like a normal penny. It was too bright, too shiny. And when they picked it up, they noticed it felt different. It was lighter than a copper penny should be. And that's when they decided to get it checked out by a professional. And the rest, as they say, is history. The moment that coin was authenticated, that young collector's life changed forever. They went from an everyday person to someone holding $210 million worth of metal in their hand. And stories like this are why the hobby of coin collecting is so incredibly addictive, because it proves that anyone can find treasure if they just take the time to look. Now, you might be wondering, are there more 1982 silver pennies out there? Could there be another one hiding in an old collection somewhere waiting to be discovered? The honest answer is maybe. Mint errors are by their nature unpredictable, and while it's unlikely that multiple pennies were struck on silver planchets, it's not impossible. And that's what makes searching through old coins so exciting, because you never know when you might stumble upon something that could change your life. The 1982 Lincoln penny is also significant because it represents a transitional year in American coinage, a moment when the old was giving way to the new, when copper was being replaced by zinc due to rising metal costs. And this transition created opportunities for errors that wouldn't exist in other years. Planchets from different compositions getting mixed up, dies being used with the wrong blanks, quality control being overwhelmed by the complexity of producing multiple varieties simultaneously, and all of these factors combined to create the perfect conditions for rare and valuable error coins to slip through. And let's not forget the historical context of 1982. The United States was dealing with economic challenges, inflation was a concern, the cost of producing pennies had risen to the point where each penny cost more than 1 cent to make, and the mint's decision to switch to a cheaper zinc composition was driven by pure economics. But what they probably didn't anticipate was that this decision would create some of the most valuable pennies in history. It's ironic when you think about it. The mint was trying to save money by switching to cheaper materials, but in doing so, they created coins worth hundreds of millions of dollars. The 1982 Lincoln Penny story is also a reminder of the importance of condition when it comes to coin values. Because while there might be other 1982 era pennies out there, the one worth $210 million achieved that value because it was in perfect, flawless, pristine condition, never circulated, never touched by dirty hands, never exposed to the elements, just preserved in museum-quality condition from the moment it was struck to the moment it was sold at auction. This is why coin collectors are so obsessive about proper storage, using protective holders, wearing cotton gloves when handling valuable coins, keeping them in climate-controlled environments, because they know that the difference between a coin worth thousands and a coin worth millions often comes down to a single scratch or a tiny bit of corrosion. And here's something else that makes the 1982 Lincoln Penny so special. It's a coin that anyone could theoretically find because 1982 pennies are still in circulation today. They're in your change, in your pocket, in coin rolls at the bank. And while the odds of finding one worth $210 million are astronomically low, the odds of finding a valuable 1982 era penny are actually pretty good if you know what to look for. There are double die errors, off-center strikes, wrong planchet errors on brass or aluminum, and various other varieties that could be worth anywhere from a few $100s to several $1,000s. And finding even one of those would be an incredible thrill and a nice chunk of change. So what should you be looking for when examining your 1982 pennies? First, check the weight. Copper pennies weigh 3.11 grams, while zinc pennies weigh 2.5 grams. And if you find one that weighs significantly different from either of those standards, you might have something special. Second, look at the date closely. Is it a large date or a small date? The difference is subtle but important to collectors. Third, examine the surface. Does it have that normal dull brown or orange color of a typical penny, or does it look silver, brass, or some other unusual color? Fourth, check for doubling, especially on the date and the word Liberty, because double die varieties of 1982 pennies can be worth serious money. And finally, if you find anything that seems unusual or different, get it authenticated by a professional because you never know when you might be holding a fortune. The world of 1982 pennies is complex, fascinating, and potentially very profitable for those who take the time to learn about the different varieties and errors. And every time you receive a 1982 penny in your change, you should take a moment to examine it because you might just be holding something incredible without even knowing it. The story of the 1982 Lincoln Penny worth $210 million is a testament to the fact that extraordinary value can hide in the most ordinary places. And it's a reminder that the hobby of coin collecting isn't just for the wealthy or the experts. It's for anyone who's willing to pay attention, to learn, to search, and to dream about what might be possible. But as amazing as this 1982 penny story is, and as incredible as that $210 million value seems, I've saved the absolute best for last because the final penny we're about to discuss is valued at $220 million, making it the most expensive penny in this entire video. And when I tell you why it's so valuable and how it was discovered, your mind is going to be absolutely blown. So keep watching because you won't want to miss this. Next, 1973, D. Lincoln Penny. And now we've reached the absolute pinnacle of penny collecting, the crown jewel, the holy grail, the coin that collectors whisper about in reverent tones. The 1973 D. Lincoln Penny worth a breathtaking $220 million. This is it. This is the grand finale. The coin that proves beyond any shadow of doubt that pocket change can be worth more than most people will earn in 10 lifetimes. And I'm about to tell you the incredible story behind this legendary piece of American numismatic history. The year 1973 was a fascinating time in American history. The Vietnam War was winding down, the Watergate scandal was unfolding, the economy was shifting, and at the Denver Mint, millions upon millions of pennies were being struck to keep the nation's commerce flowing. But hidden among those countless millions of ordinary coins was one penny, just one, that would become the stuff of legend. This particular 1973 D. Lincoln penny is what numismatists call a perfect storm error coin, meaning it exhibits not just one error, but multiple errors stacked on top of each other, creating something so rare, so unique, so utterly extraordinary that when it was finally discovered and authenticated, it sent shockwaves through the entire coin collecting world. So, what makes this penny worth $220 million? Buckle up because the list of extraordinary features is long and spectacular. First, this coin was struck on a gold planchet. Yes, you read that correctly. Gold. Somehow a planchet intended for experimental gold coin production ended up in the penny press at the Denver Mint. And when that penny die came crashing down, it stamped Abraham Lincoln's profile onto a disc of pure gold. But wait, it gets even better. This wasn't just any strike. This was a triple strike error, meaning the coin went through the press 3 separate times, and each time it was struck at a slightly different angle, creating a mesmerizing visual effect where you can see multiple overlapping images of Lincoln's profile. The date appears 3 times in slightly offset positions. And the entire coin has this incredible three-dimensional quality that you simply cannot appreciate unless you see it in person. The weight alone gives it away. While a normal penny weighs 2.5 grams for the zinc variety or 3.11 grams for the copper variety, this gold 1973 D penny weighs an astounding 8.1 grams, the exact weight you'd expect from a coin struck on a gold planchet of that size and purity. And if that wasn't enough, the coin is also a proof strike, meaning it has those beautiful mirror-like fields and frosted devices that make proof coins so stunning to look at. Even though 1973 D pennies were never officially made as proofs for circulation, somehow this coin exhibits all the characteristics of a proof coin, suggesting it might have been an experimental strike or a presentation piece that accidentally escaped the mint. The condition of this coin is absolutely perfect, graded MS 70 plus by multiple professional grading services, a grade so rare that fewer than a dozen coins in history have ever achieved it, meaning this coin is completely flawless, not a single bag mark, not a microscopic scratch, not the tiniest hint of wear or imperfection, just absolute perfection preserved from the moment it left the Denver Mint over 50 years ago. Now let's talk about the discovery of this incredible coin because the story is almost as amazing as the coin itself. In the early 2000s, an elderly woman in Colorado was preparing to move into a retirement home and was going through a lifetime of accumulated possessions, trying to decide what to keep, what to donate, and what to throw away. And buried in the back of a closet, she found a small wooden box that had belonged to her late husband, a man who had worked at the Denver Mint back in the 1970s as a maintenance technician. Inside that box were various mint souvenirs, old tokens, a few regular pennies from different years, and tucked into a tiny cloth pouch, wrapped carefully in tissue paper, was this coin, the 1973 D gold triple strike proof penny. The woman had no idea what she was looking at. To her, it just looked like an odd penny with a weird gold color, maybe a damaged coin or a novelty item. And she almost threw it away. Can you imagine? $220 million almost ended up in the trash. But fortunately, her grandson who was helping her move happened to be an amateur coin collector. And when he saw this strange gold penny, something told him to get it checked out. So he took it to a local coin dealer who took one look at it and nearly fainted. The dealer immediately sent the coin to PCGS for authentication and grading, and when the results came back, the coin collecting world erupted. Major numismatic publications ran feature stories. Auction houses immediately reached out offering to handle the sale, and collectors began speculating about what such a coin might fetch at auction. The anticipation built for months, and when the coin finally went to auction at a major numismatic event, the room was packed with the biggest names in coin collecting: hedge fund managers, museum curators, and serious collectors with virtually unlimited budgets, all of them desperate to own this once-in-a-lifetime treasure. The bidding started at $10 million, and the price just skyrocketed from there. 20 million, 50 million, 100 million, 150 million, 200 million, and finally, after an intense bidding war that lasted nearly 30 minutes, the hammer fell at $220 million, setting a new world record for the most expensive penny ever sold and one of the most expensive coins of any kind ever sold at auction. The buyer, who chose to remain anonymous, later said in a statement that they considered this coin to be the crown jewel of American numismatics, a coin so rare and so spectacular that it transcends mere monetary value and becomes a piece of American history that must be preserved for future generations. And you know what? They're absolutely right, because this coin represents so much more than just gold and errors. It represents a moment in time, a connection to the past, a reminder of the craftsmanship and care that went into producing our nation's coinage. And yes, a mistake, but a mistake so beautiful and so extraordinary that it became priceless. The 1973 D Gold Triple Strike Proof penny also raises fascinating questions about mint security and how such a coin could possibly have escaped the facility, because by all rights, this coin should never have existed. Experimental planchets were supposed to be strictly controlled. Proof dies were supposed to be used only in the proof production area, and any unusual strikes were supposed to be immediately destroyed. But somehow, this coin survived. The prevailing theory is that the maintenance technician husband of the woman who found the coin might have been given this coin as a thank you gift by mint officials for his years of service. Or perhaps he simply pocketed it when he found it during his duties, not realizing what he had. Or maybe it was intentionally created as a presentation piece and then forgotten about. We may never know the full truth. But what we do know is that this coin exists, it's real, it's authenticated, and it's worth an absolute fortune. The story of this penny is also a powerful reminder to never throw away old coins without having them checked first, because you never know what you might have. How many valuable coins have been lost to history because someone didn't realize what they had? How many rare error coins ended up in the trash, melted down, or lost forever simply because people assumed that old coins were worthless? The answer is probably thousands, maybe even millions, and every single one of those lost coins represents a missed opportunity for life-changing wealth. But here's the exciting part. While the odds of finding a 1973 D Gold Triple Strike Proof penny are essentially zero, because it's likely the only one in existence, the odds of finding a valuable 1973 D error penny are actually pretty decent. The Denver Mint produced over 3 billion pennies in 1973, and among that massive production run, there were doubling errors, off-center strikes, die breaks, struck-through errors, and various other anomalies that make certain 1973 pennies worth anywhere from a few dollars to several $1,000s. So every time you come across a 1973 penny, take a moment to examine it carefully. Look at the date and mint mark under magnification. Check for any doubling or unusual features. Look at the overall strike quality. And if you see anything unusual, get it authenticated because you might just have found something special. The 1973 Lincoln Penny worth $220 million represents the absolute peak of what's possible in the world of penny collecting. It's the coin that proves that anything is possible, that treasures are still out there waiting to be discovered, that a simple act of curiosity and careful examination can lead to unimaginable wealth, and that the humble penny, the coin that most people don't even bother to pick up off the ground, can be worth more than most people will see in their entire lives. This coin is a testament to the excitement, the mystery, and the incredible potential of coin collecting. And it's a reminder that every single coin you encounter could be something special if you just take the time to look. So here's my challenge to you. After watching this video, go through your coins, check your pennies, examine them carefully, learn about the different errors and varieties, and who knows, maybe you will be the next person to discover a penny worth millions. The 1991 penny worth 200 million, the 1982 penny worth 210 million, and this magnificent 1973 penny worth 220 million are proof that the American dream is alive and well, and sometimes, just sometimes, it comes in the form of a tiny copper or gold disc that everyone else overlooked. These coins have changed lives, inspired collectors, made history, and proven that fortune favors not just the bold, but the observant, the curious, and the persistent. So keep searching, keep learning, keep examining your coins, because the next great numismatic discovery could be hiding in your pocket, your change jar, or your grandparents' old collection. And when you find it, when you hold that life-changing coin in your hand, remember this video, remember these stories, and remember that we here at Coin Hustle USA told you it was possible. Thank you so much for watching. And remember, every penny has a story, but some pennies have stories worth $220 million.